Good evening, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fisheries Live. I'm Matt Cito, and I'm stoked for tonight's show because tonight's show is all about Nova Scotia. And if you know me or have been following Fish East, you know I love talking about my province and the amazing fishery we have here. I'm excited for tonight's guests. They've been on the show before, and we just wanted to have them back to update us on the Fish Nova Scotia initiative and anything new that we can expect this year. It's going to be a great show, but this show wouldn't be complete without my friend and my partner in crime from New Brunswick, Donald Patterson.
I don't know if it would be complete or not, Matt, but I'm sure everyone would survive. Thank you very much for that.
It wouldn't. Don't be so humble. It wouldn't be complete without you, Donnie. It wouldn't be the same.
Well, I'm sure there's some people that would argue, but I appreciate it. And they can argue all they want. I have too much fun to give this up anytime soon. So
Me too.
I'm looking forward to tonight. As of now, I'm disappointed that we can't make plans for you to come up here or us to come down there and do some fishing together this year. But, fingers crossed.
Mm-hmm.
It's still early yet. It's only May. But, in the meantime, I'm pretty excited to see. I know they launched the Fish Nova Scotia initiative last year, and I'm pretty excited to see just what's in store, for this year.
Yeah, I as well. And, I'm just excited to see what they have to say and to see, what's new for the province and the fishing here in Nova Scotia. You know me, like I said, I love talking about Nova Scotia, love promoting the fishery here. So I'm really excited to have our two guests on the show.
Well, I think that would be as good a time as any to, bring them on. Without any further ado, Matt, they're your, I guess, countrymen would be the word if it was just Canadian, but
yeah, I guess so.
They're more local to you. You've known them longer than I have, so why don't you introduce our guests?
All right. Well, without any more delay, let's bring on our guests, Sabrina Wolthers and Andrew Lowles. Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hi, doing good. How are you?
Oh, I'm great.
Apparently, we're all doing a little better than Andrew is, because he started to pop up on the screen. Andrew disconnected apparently, so we'll try and get him back.
Andrew's just a little camera shy. That's all. He's just piecing himself together. That's all. He's just getting himself together. Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Our good friends at Master Promotions, the Maritime Boating and Outdoor Digital Marketplace. This special series, the cancellation of trade shows didn't just impact us here in New Brunswick. It impacted Nova Scotia as well, the Halifax International Boat Show, and many others, I'm sure. So our good friends at Master Promotions, they're out there and, helping us promote our shows, and, we're helping them and generating some content to promote across the board. So Sabrina and now Andrew.
Hey, there he is.
Yeah, you got disconnected. Sorry about that.
We thought you had cold feet. We thought you got cold feet.
No, not at all.
Perfect.
Excellent.
So thank you guys for joining us. Andrew, we haven't actually met in person yet. We've talked a few times, but, Sabrina, we had a chance to meet last fall when we came down to explore. Yeah, I guess that was Labor Day weekend. That counts as fall.
Yeah. Yep.
Came down to explore Yarmouth, and, you guys offered us some great hospitality, and we had a lot of fun and look forward to getting back once this whole COVID, that dirty word no one wants to hear anymore, but these COVID things are resolved and we can start traveling a little more.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good. Yeah. Well, let's get right into it. So I think first, people who have seen you guys previously, maybe, they know what Fish Nova Scotia is if they watched the previous podcast. Oh, geez, how long ago was that? Was that last year? Seems like a while ago.
Yeah, it was last year.
It was last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so much has happened.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just kind of briefly describe what the Fish Nova Scotia initiative is?
So Fish Nova Scotia is the province's efforts to promote sport fishing internally in our province and to attract non-residents to our shores and our lakes. So it's got a different aspects to it. It's marketing, but it's also working within industry with fishing guides to help create professional packages so that when people come and fish with guides, that they really get that unique, special Nova Scotian experience when they're fishing. So we've done a lot of that stuff. We've got now 60 guides across the province that have taken part of our professionalization program, and they represent the whole province, every species, marine, fresh. We just have all kinds of participation. So it's been really, really good. The feedback's good. We've got all kinds of stuff on the go that I can't wait to talk about later.
Perfect. Well, 2020 was a unique season to say the least. Is there any positives that Fish Nova Scotia took away from that season that, looking forward, you can use those positives?
Yeah, ironically enough, there was some positives. I'll talk a little bit about how Fish Nova Scotia was impacted by last year, and then maybe Andrew can talk more about just the general fishing season. But I'm sure everybody's forgotten by now, but last year the fishing season started a little late because of travel restrictions. But what we found out was that people want to fish. People want to get out there and they want to be outside. They want to be spending time with their families. They want to be spending times with kids. So we had our highest participation rate of license sales since the mid-'80s with people going out and fishing. And a lot of that, I think, would be even higher, but younger populations don't buy licenses. So we have really no way of tracking specific numbers of kids who are out there. But because all sports were pretty much canceled and there wasn't a whole lot of other stuff going on, a lot of people went fishing, and we're hoping that rekindled some kind of memory or hope or something that they remember. Oh yes, that's right, fishing is so much fun. It's so special, and it's something that you can do with your family, your dog. So there's a lot more of that going on. And last year we also launched online license sales. So in the middle of when was it, Andrew? July?
Early July we launched the online licensing. Yeah.
So that was brand new for our province. Before that, it was just vendors that were selling licenses across the province. Fish Nova Scotia also launched on social media. So we now have a presence on Facebook and on Instagram, and it's been fantastic. The participation from very talented photographers and anglers across the province has been heartwarming. People are just open arms, want to participate, and we're having a lot of fun with it.
Well, I mean, that's I'm going to say from personal experience, and I'm going to talk about New Brunswick and Nova Scotia both here. Both provinces are pretty lucky for those social media posts, because when you have natural beauty like the Maritimes has, even a bad photographer like me can make it look good on social media.
Yep, that's right. Yep. And it's so nice to see the younger generation getting involved as well, with the pictures and the post and the activity online. It's been great.
Definitely. Now, Andrew, we were talking about positives from the 2020 season.
Yes.
From your side, with more people on the water, did that create positives, negatives from a fisheries biologist standpoint?
From our perspective, I mean, we do our angler report cards, which is a vital piece of information that we collect. So, it's great when we get those back. We don't receive, much more than maybe 5% of all license sales, but it is very valuable information. And believe it or not, that 5% is still more than what most provinces receive on a voluntary report card. So it's extremely valuable. It shows us long-term trends in the data. It allows us to estimate catch across the province and each individual county. So, I mean, the more data, the better for us. It helps us to see where populations are healthy. It allows us to track the spread of invasive species. So if there's a new area that chain pickerel have shown up, or last year or the year before, we found Dobson Lake and Piper Lake. Recent introductions, illegal introductions, people out on the water. It's a way to spread information. And last year, as Sabrina said, participation was high. And I mean, what better pastime, to socially distance than to get out on the water, enjoy the outdoors, get kids from away from in front of the video games. So, if nothing else, I mean, looking at the long-term outlook, I mean, if we introduce young people right now to fishing, we're likely to keep them. And this is a great opportunity to introduce them and to instill that lifelong passion in fishing that, we're looking at, the similar generations here. And, we kind of existed before the modern video games. And so the outside was where we played, and we've stuck with it. And hopefully young people are seeing that now. And they'll keep that rod in their hand for years to come. So,
yeah, very much so. Very much so. Now, and I guess Sabrina or Andrew, or maybe a little of both. I mean, yes, I've had a chance to come down and explore Nova Scotia a little bit, but if I'm an outsider looking at Nova Scotia for my next fishing trip, once I'm allowed, what really makes fishing in Nova Scotia unique and attractive?
I mean, I guess I can start there, but I think the first thing that really stood out to me as somebody that came from outside is that I can fish such a diversity of species even in the same day. I mean, I fished trout, chain pickerel, smallmouth bass, and stripers in the same day, without having to go very far to do it. But there's also so much that Nova Scotia has to offer outside of fishing. I'm a craft beer drinker. I enjoy so much of the culture that comes with Nova Scotia. I mean, getting up into the Highlands during the Celtic Colors Festival, and there's just so much history here and things to see that it's not just what happens on the water; it's what happens to and from and everything in between. So, that to me is what is made Nova Scotia stand out more than anything. Being able to go to an awesome little pizza shop in Tatamagouche, right on the main strip, and then be up in River Phillip, and it's such a unique experience. Pick up a growler of beer on the way back to the hotel. It's it's pretty awesome that way.
Okay, you mentioned the craft beer, so I got to jump in. Well, I don't know what part of the province you're in, Andrew, but have you had a chance to try the Tuscan Falls beer?
Yes, every beer. Yes,
every beer.
He's not joking.
Good beer. Yes.
Yeah, we had a chance to go down and spend some time with them when we were down in Yarmouth last fall, and we went and definitely. I know our one of our cameramen that was with us. I succeeded, I think, twice over the season when we visited different breweries, one in New Brunswick and one in Nova Scotia. He's like, "Oh, I'm not a craft beer guy. Yeah. And twice I had him buying beer.
Yeah, the gateway beer.
Yeah.
So it's it's and you know what? It's not just the beer. When you get in there, it's the atmosphere. It's talking to the local craftsmen. Just shooting the shit with them and hanging out, and you get to know them and they know you by name, and it's a pretty unique experience. I mean, around I'm in Pictou County, and you walk in anywhere and there's not 2 degrees of separation, so it's a pretty unique atmosphere and lifestyle, and it's one I've certainly come to cherish.
And it's compact, like you said, like you can easily get from one destination to the next within. You can fly into Halifax, and within that day you can be anywhere in the province with a fishing rod in your hand, experiencing all kinds of different fisheries. And the value too, like for non-residents coming, the fishing license are cheaper than other provinces. And the value when you've got other places, when you go fishing, like you're committed, and it's wonderful. It's great experiences, but it's very different. Like you're leaving for a week, you're flying out, you're leaving for a week, and you're committed, and it's a big chunk of time and a big chunk of money. Well, there's a lot of the fishing experiences in Nova Scotia. A lot of them you can do in a day, so you're paying for a day instead of for several days, so that you get a lot of value for your money and your time.
You can also set it up that you can make a a maritime road trip, if you will. Like, I've flown into lodges in northern Ontario, northern Quebec, and Saskatchewan, where you just stay there and you fish the same species for a week, and you get 6 days of fish, and you fly out on the 7th. Out here, I can I can do a full road trip. I can start in Cape Breton. I can end up on the South Shore. I can hit the valley on the way through. I mean, there's just so many opportunities, and that's just freshwater. You want to start fishing saltwater, and you better book yourself a month.
Right. There's so many opportunities and so many breweries and so many distilleries. You could easily spend some time.
I think that is one of the unique things about Nova Scotia is that you can, rather than like Andrew said, stay at a week at one place, fish the same body of water. If you had a week, you could almost touch one end of the province to the other and fish a different spot almost every day if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And then all those other
species.
Yeah.
And stop mid trip for like a wonderful nightlife experience in Halifax and do some fine dining and have that urban break in the middle. Like the possibilities are endless because it's so right at the and all water. I don't know if everybody knows that in Nova Scotia, water is accessible and shared for all. So nobody owns water in Nova Scotia. Like you can fish so many different places. So it is a little. It's. And we also have accessible. Speaking of accessible, we have barrier-free fishing sites across the province as well for people who have accessibility issues. So there's a website that we have on our departmental website. We have a link on our departmental website if anybody's interested in looking at that too.
Okay, Sabrina, you mentioned the accessibility not just from a mobility issue, but I forget what the term you just used. But basically, no one owns the water. So, is there any situations in Nova Scotia for myself as a non-resident where I am required to have a guide, or places where anything special other than just buying that non-resident license that I need to know?
Well, I think a guide is always recommended, especially if you're coming from somewhere else, but you don't need
that.
So maybe.
Need is the word I'm looking for.
Andrew can talk a little bit more about the regulations for non-residents and the license requirements, but you don't need one.
So, I mean, a guide would always be recommended. They always will enhance your trip. There's no question that somebody with local knowledge, not just of the fish, but of the area, it's going to enhance your trip. There's no question that they're going to be able to put you onto more fish, show you the patterns that are working. They're going to show you where to grab a bite after you're done your day. They'll point you in the right direction for tomorrow. But, we don't require a guide anywhere in Nova Scotia. So, even Atlantic salmon fishing, when it's open, no guide is required. But, they certainly will make your trip a lot better, even if, 2 or 3 days. I mean, some of us like to explore ourselves, but hiring a guide for a day or two and then, venturing off the beaten path afterwards, it's going to make for a better trip for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely agree with that. And that's not coming from me just as a guide, but if I was ever going somewhere, guides certainly help. Because what works in my body of water for one species, I could go to New Brunswick, use all the same things that I use here, and I'm sure some would work, but different things work in different bodies of water, different techniques, something new. I've had clients come that I've taken out, and they show me things that they use in the States, like a new technique that I've never known about, and then they start catching a bunch of fish off it. So it kind of goes the other way with guides too, that they're the ones who have fished there all their life probably. So you're gonna want to take their advice, and you could go and figure it out yourself, but how many days is it going to take to do that? I fished almost lifetime. Yeah. I fished years to figure something out. So why not just pay the guy to show you?
And without going back on it too much, having come from the eastern tributaries of Lake Ontario, fishing brown trout and rainbow trout there. Things are completely backwards on the East Coast. Fish migrate in the opposite directions. Fish here are looking for cold water in the summer, as opposed to feeding that in the Great Lakes. They're going out to the Great Lakes to feed on Gaspro or alewife. Where here they're going into the rivers when those same fish should be going out in the Great Lakes. So things are backwards. I came from Ontario. It took me a year to figure out where all the fish went. They were going up. I was going down.
Yeah. See, we got to be clear about some. We got to be clear about something, though, Andrew. They're not backwards here. This is the way life is supposed to be. It's right. Backwards up there.
It's backwards up there. That's right. That's right. No, it's. But yeah, a guide would certainly enhance any fishing trip that we'd like to catch fish, right? And it's not just about the fish; it's the other value that a guide can provide. I mean, if I said to if I came up to New Brunswick and said, Donna, where do you think I should go to grab a bite to eat and a beer when I'm done? I mean, I wouldn't know. I'd end up at Pizza and the Olin's factory. Like I wouldn't know where to go.
Yeah. No. So exactly.
There's a lot more that a guide has to offer than just what's on the water.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I saw a prime example of that here just recently. A gentleman went to a Facebook group here in New Brunswick looking for a guide up in Miramichi. He had his own boat, but had never been there before. He was going up for 3 days, wanted to hire a guide for 1 day to show him around, teach him a little bit about the river so he would enjoy the rest of his trip even more. Now, you guys with Fish Nova Scotia, and Matt, I'm going to kind of jump in here because I know you're a part of this organization. You guys are directly tied to the Nova Scotia Guides Association, or work in conjunction with. Is that how that works?
With the Fish Nova Scotia initiative, we work a lot with the Nova Scotia Guides Association. They help us deliver the professionalization plan. So they're really key to making all of this happen. So they do part of the weekend workshops that we do with guides across the province includes different aspects of enhancing their service. Not the fishing part. Guides know how to fish. It's more that extra, those like the shore lunches and how to safely prepare shore lunches and how to promote yourself online and those kinds of things. And if you're lucky to find a guide who can cook fish tacos, then you've got it made.
I was just going to...
Yes!
Okay.
I actually ate one of those fish tacos where that picture was taken.
Yes, you did.
We're going to have...
The Dodge Ram fish tacos, the famous Dodge Ram fish tacos of 2020.
We are going to have to go back and review every one of these episodes since we were down and filmed that. And I want to see just how many times that picture has. Those have got to be the most famous fish tacos in the world.
Rightfully so. They deserve to be. They were that good.
Thank you.
We do have a question from a viewer, and I guess I'll see who can answer this one. How does one become a guide here in Nova Scotia? Is there a formal approval process?
Either Sabrina or I. What do you want, Sabrina?
You go ahead. You're a guide.
Oh. I'm a guide. So to be a licensed guide here in Nova Scotia, one would take the guide certification test. It's typically a 3-day test, or a 3-day course, followed by a series of exams. The exams are not teaching you how to fish. There's nothing to do. We expect any guide to already know how to fish, how to find the fish. It's more about how to be safe, how to treat the clients, what's expected of you as a guide. And so you would basically go through that. There would be some regulations-based questions. So you can be a fishing guide, a hunting guide, or both. Most people that do the course would be both licensed for hunting and fishing. We are looking at doing a fishing exclusive course at some point. But typically they're run as a combined course. So there's questions surrounding hunting regulations, fishing regulations, best practices, safety gear, orienteering, so compass and map work, and ways to make sure that you're safe with your clients out there. That can be run either by the Nova Scotian Guide Service or the Nova Scotia Guides Association. Both offer the course.
And there's also different outfitters too in Shubenacadie that offer it on occasion. There was a guides course, Nate, a guides course scheduled for the end of May, but it had to cancel, so it's going to be postponed. So if you want to know, if you want to sign up, you can always reach out, and Andrew or I can hook you up with the people who are offering the course.
Okay. So hopefully that answers his question. And if he has any more, if he doesn't have your guys' contact information, he can reach out to us and we'll make sure he has it.
Emails can always be sent to inland@novascotia.ca, and they'll get funneled to the appropriate people.
Mm-hmm.
Just a follow-up to something earlier there. I think Sabrina said that there was quite a few licenses sold. Do we actually have a number on what was sold last year during this unique COVID 2020 season? Because I knew they were up. I've heard they were up. Sabrina mentioned again. Do we have an exact number on how many were sold?
74,932.
Was that the most recorded?
That was the biggest license sales that we've had since the early 80s.
Oh, what was it? Do we have a comparison? What am I trying to say here? Like a percentage of how high up?
Yeah. So actually, we could do a little quiz here. But what do you think influences our license sales the most in a regular season? How late the spring is? How late the spring falls? If we have ice into May, then we lose about 8,000 licenses. Because people that want to early season trout fish, and they're not realizing all the other opportunities that we have. So I mean, there's more than just that first week of fishing. So we, despite the fact that we lost the month of April last year because of COVID. We still managed to sell more licenses than we had. We hover usually between 62 and 68,000 annually. On good years where we have an early spring, we might touch 70. But that 75. That's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's great, and I think. I think people were just realizing that, with all the lockdowns and stuff, they couldn't do things. I think maybe a lot of people just kind of got back into it. I think I know that there was some people that have, that I spoke to that hadn't fished in years and just were looking for something to do. Everything is shut down, can't go to the park, so just dusted off the rods out of the garage, their grandfather's old stuff or their father's old stuff or whoever, and got into it again. And I know some of them are fishing again this year, so that's what great. You want. That's what you want.
Absolutely.
So back in 2019, we changed our licensing format slightly with respect to ages, and so we made licenses free for those that are 17 and 18, or sorry, 16 and 17. 16 and 17. Yeah. So all they were required to do is simply log on, and they can get their license online at no charge if you're 16 or 17 years of age. But it gets them, it puts a little bit of responsibility on these young adults. Mm-hmm. They have to, they've all got smartphones. Let's be realistic here. They've all got access to the internet. So they just need to log on and they get their license. It gives them the opportunity to fill in one of those valuable report cards that I mentioned earlier. And, it will hopefully become sort of the norm. It'll become habit that in the spring they log on, and when they're a little bit older, they'll have a little bit extra coins so they can afford to buy their license. It's it's a modest $30 here in Nova Scotia. So yeah. I mean, you look at the value compared to some other provinces, or go overseas and they're paying $400 a year for a license in in Europe. So it's value here for sure.
It is.
Look at the green
when you're talking
here.
about you, right. you're talking about youth fishing. I have a 16-year-old, and him and his friends decided there was one of them in the group that fishes, and the rest kind of had, but not really. So I drove them 15 minutes, gave them all a fishing rod, drove them 15 minutes up the road. And by the time we got to the fishing location, they all had fishing licenses from just doing it on their phone, like ordering it right then and there. So it's easy peasy.
I gotta say, I I really like the online setup. It's something I've been thinking about for years. Like, why is this not a thing? Because a lot of times you go and a vendor doesn't have the licenses in, or what's that?
It only took a pandemic to get us electronic licensing, right? But it's here. It's here. It was in the works for many years. Yeah,
I will. Yeah. I will say that it was is a blessing, because back in late October of 2018, I got a chance to come fish Nova Scotia for the first time. For those of you who don't know my background and my day job, I drive truck. Well, now I teach truck driving, but I was driving truck. Good luck finding somewhere in October that still can get you a fishing license in person that you can get a tractor trailer into at the same time. I had to pick it up on a Friday as I was coming back from Port Hawkesbury, and I made so many phone calls, and the Natural Resources Office in Oxford was able to accommodate me, and they had a yard big enough for me to get into. So the online licensing would have been an absolute blessing.
Yeah. And let's, we won't forget that we still have licenses that are readily available at all of our local vendors as well. There are many rural Nova Scotians that have poor internet access still. Yeah. It's something that that we are the province is trying to remedy, but at the moment internet isn't great everywhere. So your corner store, my Crossroads Country Market here in Thorburn, I still buy my license from them. And, it's just, it's kind of become my rite of spring. So, those places still available.
Absolutely.
And there's a PDF of the Angler's Handbook as well as a paper copy still. It's great to be able to just screenshot the location you're going to be at and have that with you in case you have questions about it, especially around any of our special management areas. It's a great way to have it. And we do plan in the future to have much more interactive regulations and maps. It's just a matter of sort of catching up with technology and utilizing what we have.
Well, I look forward to that. That all sounds amazing. And like I said, really enjoyed the online thing. Just make sure you buy for the right season. I jumped the gun a little bit this year and bought my
we got you sorted out, Matt. We got you sorted out.
You got me you fixed me up, but I didn't realize until afterwards. It was like 2020 season. What's going on there? No, so just make sure you don't do that. Lesson learned. Yeah. We got a question here from Pete Stoddard. Do you have to be a Nova Scotia resident to be a licensed guide, or could a New Brunswick guide also come down and do his thing here?
Sorry, I think the question is, could the New Brunswick resident also be a guide? And yes, they could.
Oh, be a guide, yes.
Be a guide, yeah. There's no requirement of residency to be a guide in Nova Scotia. You just have to successfully pass the course and the associated tests. And then, of course, hold the pleasure craft operators and the other licenses that are required. And they would be required to maintain their, what do they call it? Wildlife resource card.
Yeah.
So we have many guides that will cross guide between here in Newfoundland or here in New Brunswick. Mm-hmm. So, no requirement.
I know, I know in Newfoundland, a lot of guys go salmon fishing. You need to have a guide there.
Yes.
But I know that, as a Nova Scotia guide, I can go and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you can apply and pay a small fee and kind of guide over there.
That's right. So
does that happen here? How does that work?
No. So what you can't do is you can't fish over there while you're guiding. So, technically you can go over there as a party and one person sits out as the guide and can guide up to 3 anglers, and then you would just rotate through. You know, I have mixed feelings about that. I mean, personal opinion, I like to make sure I funnel some money into the local economy, but you know, that is an economic option. Now, unfortunately, there is no guides course, and Nova Scotia does not recognize Newfoundland currently. They don't offer a course, so there is no standard, you know, to be met there. So Newfoundlanders would still be required to take the course here.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah.
I believe we have another
go ahead,
question. No, I believe we have another question there from Ted Pace, and I'm going to take this one because, you know, he's going to inflate Matt's ego a little bit at the same time. He said, with all the catch and feast work that Matt has done, I applaud his work. I assume this is supposed to say, is there more educational info for anglers to be educated on how to prepare some of the so-called invasive species, which are some of the more tasty fish, like Matt's chain pickerel tacos? So I
definitely agree with the invasives. With the invasives being tastier, I definitely agree with that.
Is there resources out there for people on enhance? You talked about the guides being taught how to kind of enhance a shore lunch experience. What about local anglers that want to learn how to enhance their own shore lunch?
I just heard about a cookbook today that
Big Rock Conservation Group.
Yes. Yeah. Do you know about it? It's all recipes with chain pickerel.
Yeah.
I don't know where you find it.
I have a copy upstairs. My my sweet and sour fish recipe is in there, actually. Sweet and sour chain pickerel recipe.
Oh, nice.
It's actually in that one. Yeah.
Sabrina, this is just an idea, but I think maybe Fish Nova Scotia should commission Matt and all his cooking expertise to do an invasive species cookbook.
There you go.
Not making it until we get to taste them all.
Yeah.
I'll vouch for the tacos. I'll vouch for
we can have a taste off. We'll go and we'll get a bunch of chain pickerel and do some cooking.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Right. Where do I sign? Let's
Yeah. Well, once we can all get together, let's do it. I'm down.
Yeah.
So I got an unlimited supply right here, about 100 feet away. So
awesome.
Let's do it.
So close. We'll get together and try them out, and then we'll let. Is it Ted? I forget the name of the person. Yeah, we'll let you know what our findings are. But for now, I think if you can find that cookbook, it has some. I've heard a couple people reference it. I don't have my hands on it, but I've heard some good recipes in there.
There's a link in the comments now going to it.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Maybe Ted could bring up a little prosciutto with him.
Yeah. Ted's a chef himself, isn't he?
Yes.
I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, and if you got any recipes for us, Ted, please share.
Ted's an excellent chef. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that cookbook is good. There's inside it tells you how to kind of fillet the chain pickerel, which are got those pesky Y bones and stuff, and there's some good recipes in there. So yeah, definitely check out that for sure. Oh, we got another question from Nate there.
I'm pretty sure this one's for Andrew.
All right.
So you want me to take it, or you got it, Matt?
Oh,
just let Andrew read it, so we don't have to say it out loud.
I've already read it. We're ahead of the game.
Yeah, so I know this is a delicate topic, but after catching a halibut as a bycatch cod fishing last year, is there any discussion on opening up a recreational season similar to groundfish?
Okay, so should start by saying that all of those tidal water species are managed by Department of Fisheries and Oceans, so it's our federal counterparts. Us with Fish Nova Scotia manage the inland or fresh waters. We do handle migratory trout, but things like Atlantic salmon, striped bass, Gasbro, eel, shad, those would all be managed by federal fisheries. Now, there has been quite a few discussions over the last few years. There are several individuals that would really like to see a recreational halibut fishery. At this point, it doesn't sound as if DFO is entertaining that idea currently. There was discussions surrounding the tidal water license, and if that tidal water license was put in place, would there be the option to have a commercial fishery to have a recreational fishery for them, or even DFO buying some commercial licenses in order to allocate to the rec fishing division. But at this point, it's not on the table, to my knowledge.
Any idea why? Any idea, like, being a biologist, as to why? Like, is it something scientific that they're kind of so hesitant?
I think it's more just how things are allocated in terms of harvest, and right now that allocation is to the commercial fishing industry, and so they basically have an allowable catch, and from there it's allocated, and the way that it has been allocated is to the commercial sector. So
okay, all right.
So
hope that answered your question, Nate.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't give you more accurate information. DFO could, but that's just what I've heard through our discussions. Yeah.
So I'm gonna pose this question as an outsider again, and I'm gonna ask each of you this: if you had one, and this is gonna completely put your feet to the fire and possibly make people not like you, depending on how you answer. If you had one fishery in Nova Scotia to recommend, which one would it be and why?
We have to pick between our favorite children? It's a tough question, Donna.
I'm just asking the question.
Sounds like it's tougher for you than it is for me.
I do have my favorite.
He's go ahead then.
Yeah, you go ahead first, Andrew.
No, I can't pick just one. I mean, for me, it's where am I headed? Because there's something everywhere. I've had incredible experiences shad fishing on the Nictaw and on the Annapolis River, 9 Mile River. The striped bass fishing on the Stewiacke and Shubenacadie for size is world class. If you want to fish striped bass for numbers and hit world class, then you head to the Northumberland Strait. Our sea trout fishery is very unique. Some of the biggest sea trout anywhere. If you're after big chain pickerel down Yarmouth County is, it's hard to beat. And same with the numbers of smallmouth bass that they catch down in Lunenburg County and Queens County. Their numbers are high. So, there's something for everyone. It depends on what you're fishing. For me, it matters to me. I like locations more than anything. And so I've got a few little hidden gems that I fish for their beauty, not for their fish. So, the North River in Cape Breton being one of them. I mean, if you've never walked that river, you don't even realize that you're not catching anything. You're just amazed by the beauty, and you get there with the fall colors, and it's a different world. So, but if I had to pick one, I mean, the sea run speckled trout on the North Shore are very unique, and aside from that, probably the big stripers of the Stewiacke and Shubenacadie. Take them on the fly, and yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Holy smokes! Yeah, so many opportunities. I think when I think not location as much as I think seasons. So if you start the season in the spring and you get those brook trout running out in the back country, like there's nothing like it. And then if you're going into summer, last summer, or was it last summer, the summer before, we were down in Lunenburg County, and I went with a guide, Peter Lavender, and we went out, Peter and Vinyl actually, and we went out for some smallmouth bass fishing, and it was so fun. Like, it was just nonstop action in the hot sun, and it was just, we had the kids with us, and it was a blast. So that could be really special too. And then how can you not talk about salmon fishing in Cape Breton in the fall? Like, there's just so many opportunities. But like, my favorite could be just maybe because of location or stripers on the Stewiacke, because I live right on the Stewiacke River. It's hard to beat.
I thought it was going to be yellow perch, Sabrina.
Oh yes, yellow perch. Thanks for that dig.
Nothing wrong with a perch fish every now and then.
No.
White perch. I'll tell you, white perch fishing is a blast.
Oh, yes.
You get into some of those big white perch
With the right gear.
You get into that ultralight tackle and get up to Lake Ainsley and catch some of those big white perch. Oh man! And talk about a fish feed.
Yeah, well, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah,
I love my white perch. Anyone who knows me knows that.
Yeah.
I know you've only fished not many times in Nova Scotia. 3 times. Okay. Well, that's enough. What was your favorite, Donnie?
And I'm kind of torn on that. Waikagama and the Bredor Lakes was definitely something special.
It's a special place.
You know, it was a special opportunity for me as well. Just first time catching something on a fly rod, so it's an experience that's going to stick with me for years to come. If you were to go back to my base as an angler and kind of my first love with fishing, I got to go back down to Yarmouth because I cut my teeth on chain pickerel fishing, and those things are just beasts. So I'm not going to say that species specifically, but that area, those lakes, for the pickerel and the smallmouth, that would be probably where I'd head. Now, what about you, Matt? Time to put your feet to the fire and see if you can aggravate some people too.
I don't know. Honestly, I like it all. Anyone else who knows me too knows I like it all. Like, my biggest struggle is like, where am I going to go on the weekend? Oh my God. Like, I want this, but I want this, but I want that. But so I don't know. But I mean, if I'm going just off salmon fishing is always my favorite. It's always going to be my favorite, just with the fall colors, and just when you hook one, you'll know why it's worth it, putting in all that time. And it's just like the most majestic fish, the hardest to catch by far. But I think if I'm going with like uniqueness that Nova Scotia has to offer, it's got to be the Stewiacke. I mean, with the highest tides coming in and like the muddy conditions, but you have these like river monsters in there, 40 inches up to like 25, 30. It's nothing to get a 40 incher every time you go. I don't want to say every time you go, but they're pretty frequent, if you fish them at the right time. And you're fishing these crazy like tidal bores. I think that I got to go with that. I mean, I love it all. I grew up fishing trout in the Bredor Lakes, but I think like just based off actually Bredor Lakes too is pretty unique. So I would go with Stewiacke or the Bredor Lakes, because Bredor Lakes I think is someone can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it's the largest no, I'm not saying that right. The largest saltwater lake where it's like 50-50 salt. Mm-hmm. I think it's the largest in the world. And it's just a crazy like fish mecca for trout. So Stewiacke or Bredor Lakes. I'm torn between the two. Don't make me pick. I narrowed it down to those two. Don't make me pick. That's it. That's it.
The one thing that I think we all had in common, even with my little limited experience, is we basically had to try and convince ourselves about our answer, because we had more than one thing to pick from, and it just wasn't going to shake down in our heads. So I think that in itself is a testament to what's available in Nova Scotia for people to explore.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about Fish Nova Scotia. Let's get back to that. Is there any new initiatives or programs or anything for 2021, like looking forward?
Yes, the 2021 is jam-packed for Fish Nova Scotia. We've got our website that's just ready to launch. So as soon as people are able to travel within our province a little bit more, we'll have a website ready to launch. And the website's going to highlight different fish locations across the province with the different species. We'll have guides who have taken our professionalization program that are highlighted on the website. So if you want some more information about the different areas or fishing, they'd be good contacts. And we also have fishing friendly accommodations that are going to be listed on our website. So if you're looking to plan a trip in the near future when it's safe to do so, it'd be a great tool to start with. And that's going to be fishnovascotia.ca, but it's not live yet, so just hold on. We'll be announcing it on our social media accounts, so both on Instagram and on Facebook. We're going to continue with the guides, increasing the number of people who are taking the professionalization. So they'll have more guides that are on the water equipped to give the best possible experiences. We are right now, our big push right now is to create some visual content. So videos and images to capture like when we were listing the different fishing trips, like it's just amazing. And when you saw the video at the beginning of all the places across Nova Scotia, it's so unique and so beautiful. So we're really working right now to get some images out there to showcase the different fishing opportunities. And we're always looking for people who want to participate as well.
Right. So if we wanted to participate, if someone wanted to get involved, how do they do that?
Well, we're always looking for Fish Nova Scotia ambassadors. So if you are a guide, or if you're interested in becoming a guide, then definitely reach out and contact me. You can always contact us on our social media accounts, or you can, like Andrew mentioned earlier, inland@novascotia.ca, and it'll get funneled to whoever the question comes to. So that's one way of being involved. And there's also, if you're a photographer or a videographer and you'd love to take that nature content and pictures and videos, then reach out. So maybe we can work together and share content on our Instagram or Facebook, or maybe work together for something bigger.
Awesome.
I think you guys are really doing a great job. Promoting Nova Scotia. It's been an honor to talk to you guys again, to have you guys on. And I hope we can continue working together in the future, because I think, there's so much that Nova Scotia has so much to offer. Like I said, I've got very limited experience being down there, but, on behalf of Fish East, I want to thank you guys for everything you're doing in promoting fish, sport fishing in general, I guess is the easiest way to put it, because for too many years, people viewed sport fishing as you've got to either be this group or that group. There was no cross promotion, nothing in between. And to promote it across the board, it doesn't matter what species you love to target. If you love to fish, you guys are doing something for them. And I think that's to be commended by anglers everywhere. Matt's getting compliments on his hat.
My favorite hat. My lucky hat. Love it.
So, it's been great having you guys on. I hate to say that we've got to wrap it up, but we are winding down. So if you guys have anything else, upcoming events, dates, anything that's going to be key that you want to mention, I got to kind of ask you to get it in now, and we'll do everything we can to spread the word.
I wish we could announce events and have things going on, but with restrictions, we really can't plan events in person. But just reminder, people watch for the website and reach out if you have any ideas of how you'd like to see the sport fishing promoted in Nova Scotia. We're wide open. We're willing to talk to anybody and see what people have to say. So thanks for allowing us to join the show. It's good to get out here and get the word out.
I think the last thing that I'll say is that, it sounds like we're going to be locked down here in Nova Scotia for another 2 weeks. And you have this opportunity to get out and explore your own backyard. The weather looks great for the next 2 weeks. This weekend looks good. Grab some bug dope. It must be an essential thing. So get some bug dope, get out there, get fishing, explore areas you haven't fished before in your own backyard. You might be surprised. I mean, we went just down the road from us. We got the kids out, and a bunch of 6-inch trout kept them happy all day long. So, I mean, those little gems exist everywhere in all corners of the province. There is so much water here in Nova Scotia. Get out, take advantage of it, and find a silver lining in this COVID cloud that we're shadowed under. So.
Well,
Yeah, good advice. Yeah, I like that. What a perfect time to explore. You can't go anywhere. You never know what you might find that you didn't know even existed back there. So,
the last 2 weeks of May, everything's biting. There's trout, there's pickerel, there's bass, there's striped bass, there's shad. I mean, just about every fish that you're going to catch is biting in these next 2 to 3 weeks. So hit it while it's hot. Yeah. Get out.
It's just starting to pick up now. I know that because you can barely walk outside without getting hounded by black flies. So that's usually when it coincides, when the black flies get real bad and you think you can't stand it. That's usually when the fishing's at its best.
Yeah,
they're pretty bad out there right now.
Kevin Callan wrote a book, Brook Trout and Black Flies. So, yeah.
Yep.
So what?
Very true.
So basically what you're saying is whether you're discovering your backyard for the first time or you're rediscovering some places you forgot about, get out and enjoy what your own backyard has to offer.
Absolutely.
And fill out your voluntary report cards so Andrew has more information.
The more data, the better. We appreciate it.
So it really is amazing, guys. Matt, it's a lot of fun to talk about. I know we talk a lot about New Brunswick. I mean, obviously that's where, things are kind of centered for me. So to get a chance to talk specifically about Nova Scotia, as you can see, I'm just as excited about Nova Scotia as I am about New Brunswick. I couldn't shut up all night either. So, it's just fun to promote fishing across the board. And Andrew, Sabrina, thank you again for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. Stay in touch because I got a feeling we're probably going to be looking to have you back again. Maybe once your website goes live and things start opening up a little more, we'll get you back on. And unless Matt has something else to throw in there, we'll talk to you guys again soon.
Thank you.
Well, it's always a pleasure to talk to you guys, and just can't say enough good things about Fish Nova Scotia and what you're trying to do there.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay. Sabrina, Andrew, thank you very much. Matt, time flies when you're having fun, buddy.
Yes, always. I always feel like I could just go on and on and on. But, we got a certain, we try to stick to a certain time. So
some shows go longer than others.
You're right. Yeah.
It's, here we go. I've got a couple things before we wrap up that I've got to throw out there. Jason LeBlanc and the Nova Scotia Guides Association, thank you very much for the work we've done with you guys. Yarmouth and Acadian Shores, Cape Breton. We worked with tourism groups from both of those areas, and we had phenomenal experiences when we were down there. I really can't wait for people to visually get a chance to see the Fish East episodes from those from all the locations, but from those locations when we get out there, when they get on the air. That announcement is still coming soon, folks. We're dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure there's going to be no loopholes that fall apart on us this time. So stay tuned for that announcement. It's just we've had an opportunity to work with some phenomenal people and to chat with Andrew and Sabrina again. COVID or no COVID, 2021's looking pretty bright in Nova Scotia, Matt.
Yes, it is. And once we can travel through the province a little bit, it's going to be great. But even still, like I like what Andrew said, because I've been doing a lot of fishing just in my own area instead of traveling around, and it's good. It's good to know it's in your backyard. So
yeah, exactly. So I got to throw in one little New Brunswick update because I've been actually meaning. Do you remember our guest from one of our guests when we did the Striper Science episode, Sean Simmons from Anglers Atlas?
Yes.
You remember the number he said of how many fish they registered in 2020 with the Atlantic Anglers Challenge?
Remind me what he said.
He said they registered 5,000 fish in 2020 through the MyCatch app for the Atlantic Anglers Challenge. And his words were they were hoping for 10,000 in 2021.
Mhm.
And-
What do they
and
have
I-
so far? This is what you're getting at, isn't it?
I'm getting at what they have just for the first 2 weeks of the Miramichi Striper Cup. As of right now,
Okay.
they have 7,627 fish registered.
Oh, in a week? 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. It started May 1st.
Wow, 76. That's how many fish have been caught and registered in this.
That's how
Striper
many.
Cup.
That's how many have been registered. So,
Is-
Sean,
I thought I saw a picture. Was the biggest one like 41 inches or something? Did I see that?
105 centimeters. So whatever that equals out to. Oh, sorry. The website just updated. There's 2 more just got put in. So, Sean, if you happen to be
Awesome.
watching, my friend, I hope you're staying busy with
That's
that.
incredible.
And on behalf, for our friends at the Maritime Boating and Outdoor Digital Marketplace, thank you again for everything you guys are doing in these COVID times. And Matt, you kind of took the lead, but I didn't shut up. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it up to you to say goodbye and tell everyone when we're going to be back again.
Yeah, well, we're going to be back again next Thursday, 8 p.m., same time. And we have a special guest that will not be named. So, yeah, you're not going to want to miss that. So tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m. And Donnie, it's always fun, man. It's always a pleasure. I look forward to every Thursday to chatting fishing and chatting with you. And I want to thank everyone who tuned into Fisheries Live tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show, and for all of you asking all those great questions, thank you for asking those questions and your participation. We always love fielding questions, so if you're tuning into any Fisheries Live, give it to us. Hammer us with questions. We love it. We want to be helpful, and that's the whole point of Fish East is to be a resource and to help all our fellow anglers out there.
Very much so.
I guess.
So,
you got something to say, Donnie? No.
The time has come, Matt. Whether we want to or not, we've got to say goodnight. So
we do. All right. Well, on behalf of Fish East and Donnie and I, thank you for tuning in. Hope you can join us again next Thursday, 8 p.m. Until then, fish on, Fish East.